You arrive. The Great Spirit spoke in my dreams, told me that darkness would again drown our lands. And you, Exile, would walk before the flood. But what is this? You are not alone. A shade, a memory, older even than... No, older than spirit? Fear grips my throat. I shake, but the spirit drapes a warming cloak upon my shoulders. This ancient ghost that follows you, it has the trust of the spirit. And if the spirit trusts, then I trust.
Turn your back for the barest moment and Rayclast bites you in the proverbial. I imagine that's how you're feeling upon visiting us this time. It's how I feel about now. I'm afraid that the Inquisitor's spirit has indeed returned to the Chamber of Sins. Yet while you won't encounter Meligaro by wandering his halls, I do perhaps know how you can find him. Whilst investigating the Fell Shrine, I learned of the existence of a map, forged by Meligaro from his own viscera. This map allowed him to transfer his spirit into another form of existence, an existential safe house to which he could retreat should death ever attempt to take him. Understanding the map's purpose, Vol tried to destroy it, to no avail, so he locked it away deep within the ruins of Frisia Cathedral. Find that map and place it upon the Reverie device in Meligaro's old laboratory, and when you step over that threshold, expect the very worst.
Ah, yes. You do seem to have a penchant for presenting yourself when times are at their most perplexing. It would seem that our Almighty has forsaken us. False deities from ages past now rise and ravage, while our blessed innocence remains as silent as the stones at my feet. So much for Templar propaganda, eh? Well, I suppose if we are to fend for ourselves, then I should answer your troubling arrival with our own most pressing tribulation. The relic that washed ashore and started all the chaos. It was covered in ancient Val inscriptions. The symbols were much weathered, making them challenging to translate. Yet I did my best. The inscriptions spoke of the god Ralakesh. If this object somehow housed the spirit of that many-faced monstrosity, then I fear we are all in danger. Ralakesh was renowned for his penchant for subjugation and control. Please, I urge you to destroy this god before his strength and dominance grow insurmountable. Nip this divine threat in the bud, as it were. Our poor friend, Grust, has likely become Ralakesh's avatar in this world. At least his recent behavior would indicate as much. If you could see to Grust's passing, Ralakesh will be forced to retreat into the relic. Destroy the relic, and perhaps you will also destroy the god.
It's a bit of an embarrassing affair, truth be told. Thought I could return to the golden days, you know. Be a terror of the high seas like in me youth. Problem was, they'd all forgotten me. Those young blighters sailing about, they had no clue who I even were. Figured if I could complete another great feat, like slaying that sea bitch Mervale, maybe that'd earn me my respect back. Suppose I don't need to tell you. That girl is stronger than she looks. All it took were one slip of the old hands, and next I knew, the Black Crest were wrecked against the coast, and I'm getting myself eaten alive by that hag. Peeled each separate muscle from my bones, she did. I tell you, it weren't pretty.
I'm not up to that just yet.
There was a time before the beast, bathed in the shadows of lost memory, when men and women like you could ascend. Through rareness of quality and the adoration of their people, these few could reach out into the quickening mists of immortality and grasp the power of godhood. Mind you, transcendence is never easy. Like the pains of childbirth, it reeks of agony, tragedy, and sacrifice. The sacrifice most often being of one's humanity. That is simply the way of it. Those of us who seek the immortal throne live long enough to see ourselves become truly monstrous.
My heart weeps for our old home, but what the spirit gives, we must embrace. The spirit, it claims who it needs to, when it needs to. There is no sense in sadness.
Don't get me wrong, I've witnessed many unsettling things in my lifetime, but a spectral corsair living next door to me? We reside in dark times indeed, when the living need share their quarters with the dead.
Yes, Relikish, the god of many faces. I read about this god when I looked after the museum in Theopolis. It said he was obsessed with governance, in particular the control of humanity through our base animal instincts. He ruled over the citizens of one unfortunate Val city. Alas, the name escapes me. Yet I do recall that his experiments brought his subjects to the brink of extinction, and that he was forced to enslave many a primitive Asmerian of the time so as to repopulate his domain. Though I shudder at the thought, I can only imagine that Ralikesh has rather similar plans now. Fare you well.
Erimir, though he's a tad dull, tends to ramble on a bit. Still, he's a few interesting stories of his own, so might be worth chewing the fat with from time to time.
It started with a few mumblings in his slumber, then long forays into the wilds, searching for relics of a distinctly arachnid nature. I thought it a natural extension of Silk's eccentric persona at first. Then came the sleepless nights studying those relics, the fevered recitations in broken Varlish, the strange 8-phase rituals. Then one night Silk gathered his collection and scuttled off into the darkness without a word. Silk has always been susceptible to fine fictions. Perhaps he has finally shunned reality altogether.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Think of the worst place ye can imagine. That's Pondium. Now think of the gods be damned best whorehouse you've ever had the pleasure of. That's Pondium. A pirate paradise full of bodies to stab, holes to fill, and devious liquor to imbibe. Brine rots control the whole island and make sure it lives up to the lowest of expectations. Can't imagine much has changed since I was there last. Still, it's a good place to swashbuckle and make love to a bawdy, buxom bunter out back of a boozy bar.
up to that just yet.
A fascinating case that flies in the face of all that is natural. Weylam is undead for sure. Something we have in spades in Rayclast. But a sentient, reasonable ghost? Now that is rare indeed. When we talk, I feel as if I'm staring into the breach, witnessing that which man was not meant to know. I have theorized about what animates the pirate's essence, how he manages to manifest on this earth once again. I think I shall compile my observations and speculations into a book. Yes, Eramir's Elucidations of Undeath. Has a nice ring to it, don't you think?